Deep in the ocean, an orca pod is on the hunt. But these aren't your average orcas. These guys are organized.
Marketing team, did you get those social media posts scheduled for the SEAL migration?
Aye, Captain. We even have an automated notification for all pod managers when they go live.
They use Monday.com to keep their teamwork sharp, their communication clear, and their goals in sight. Monday.com. For whatever you run, even orcas. Go to Monday.com to dive deeper.
Regen auf mein Kopf. Hinter der Deckel muss es die kleine Fahrt beim Top. Geht mir kein Sach mit, die Tropfen.
Welcome to Kill Me Now with Judy Gold. I am your host, Judy Gold. This week we have part 2 of my discussion, my interview, my love fest with Sharon Gless. And I hope you enjoyed part 1. You have to get her book. This woman's life is incredible, and it's just full of, I can't do the accolades. The stories are just fascinating, and who she is fascinating, and I just loved it. I hope you enjoy. It was such an honor for me. Sit back. I always say that, but I mean it. I want you to sit back and relax. And, and if you're on the treadmill, the bike, whatever you're doing, enjoy. You had many jobs. You were sold aluminum siding. You were a switchboard operator. You worked at a bank. You worked at 2 ad agencies, Young and Rubicam and Gray Advertising. You were a script girl.
A script supervisor, right.
The aluminum siding story, can you please tell it? And it was Johnny Carson's favorite story.
Yes. I didn't know that he loved aluminum siding stories, but they do those previews before you do the talk show. And
yeah, they do a pre-interview. Yeah.
Right. And I mentioned the aluminum siding, said, oh God, you got to tell the story. Well, when I got there to the Y, I knew I needed to get a job. So my mother told me to get a paper and look for the want ads. So I did. And this ad said, want to make big money? I said, yeah, I do. So I got dressed up, and the only suit I had packed was this pink linen suit with a white linen collar. And I had my hair back in a ponytail with a pink ribbon. And I went down, and I got on a bus, and I went way downtown in the bowels of Seattle to this aluminum siding factory. And I walked in, and this guy, it was a dump. Guy said, yes, can I help you? I said, yes, I'm applying for the job in the paper. And he said, stay right here and move. I said, okay. And I heard him go around this tin wall. And I heard him say, you guys aren't going to believe what's out here. Someone applying for the job in her pink linen suit. And I got hired that day, and I went out with him. Trying to sell aluminum siding. I didn't know what the fuck aluminum siding was. I tried to sell it to a brick house. And that's what I realized.
That's the most hilarious.
I know.
You would knock on the doors and then
these poor women. It was in the Boeing Aircraft Center. It was like a movie. There'd be these moms with the baby at the leg and one in the arm and an iron. And I'd say, I'm sorry, would you be interested in buying aluminum siding for your house? Because I was taught to be very polite.
Right.
And
I love how you start with, I'm sorry. You're trying to sell something and you're like, I'm sorry.
You.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to bother you. Would you be interested in buying aluminum siding for your house? Please go away, they'd say. I'm sorry I took up your time. Absolutely. And I go back to the car, and he took me to another house. And as I went to one of the houses, he started honking. And I waved to him. Yeah, okay. He said, honking again. Come back here. And I went back to the car, and I said, what is it? He said, it's a brick house. I said, so? He said, you don't put aluminum siding on a brick house.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. You're doing all these jobs, and
I wanted my own money, Judy.
Right. Yeah. You realized how that independence was being able to support yourself. And I think,
Exactly.
and the
I
fact,
didn't have to dance anymore. I didn't have to.
right. And was it in the back of your head all the time, knowing that your mother didn't do that or couldn't do that? And that's why she was making you, I mean, did you realize that later on, that because your mother knew what it was like to be dependent, she didn't want you to have that life?
I don't really think that was it. She saw how unhappy I was. I just couldn't stay in this little town. And I was selling, I was working in been thrown out of college, so there was that.
I
shame.
just can't believe that you get thrown out of this, you get in all this trouble. Like, did you feel guilty? Like, my mother would have made me feel like you will have nothing. You will have nothing. You will never succeed. You ruined your life. Like, everything would have been that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, my grandmother used to fly me up to college on a plane. When I got suspended, she sent me a one-way bus ticket on a Greyhound bus. Yeah. Took 48 hours to get home. Ugh. And I'd been to a fair with this beau, and he'd won me this huge bear, the Gonzaga Bears. And I sat with this enormous bear next to me, so nobody'd sit next to me in the Greyhound bus. And for 2 days, I traveled. When I
You're lucky.
Oh my God. When I got off the bus, my mother said, "You need to call your grandmother soon as you get home." I called her, and my grandmother said, "Well, I might as well flush that money down the toilet." And I said, I'm not complaining. It was my fault.
When your mother said you have to call your grandmother, would you get like like stomach ache?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Getting into you becoming an actress, or actor. We're not allowed to say actress anymore.
I say actress. It says actress on my Emmys.
Yeah, that's right, fuckheads. You drove you were asked to drive your grandfather's car to Scottsdale.
Right.
This is just like, you're like Calamity Sharon. So you're driving this car.
Well, I'd broken off an engagement.
Right.
I was working for an independent film company that folded with my back salary. And I just broken off a wedding engagement. And my grandfather, I don't know, he had a new wife. My grandmother had died. And now Catholics are going to remarry after the wives died. So even though they were separated, that whole. Yeah. So he had this young wife, and I think there was something planned because I was such a mess, Judy. Everything was turning shit. And my grandfather said, "I need the station wagon. Go over to the Beverly Hills house, get me the station wagon, and drive it to Scottsdale." Okay, something to do. And he said, "Then you stay and you hang out with Mary for a couple of weeks." I said, "All right, Grandpa." Well, I totaled the car on the way, rear-ended some guy. It just, when I drove up to his house, came out the front door and saw the car. And it was like a bad movie with the steam coming out.
Yeah.
Noise, and burst out laughing. And that night, should I tell the story about how?
Oh my God, yes.
Okay, because there was that night that changed my life.
Right.
Bringing the station wagon was totaled. And my grandfather always took us to dinner in Scottsdale, always. But that night, for some reason, he went to bed early, and Mary and I sat up in the solarium, and she opened up a bottle of champagne. I'm 26 years old. And about halfway through the bottle, she says, "Sharon, you're 26 years old, and you have nothing to show for your life." Gee, hi, that's nice. What do you want to do? I don't remember, Judy, anybody asking me what I wanted to do. And she said, "Just say it. Just say it. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter if it makes any sense. It doesn't matter if it could ever happen. Just say it. Put it out there."
And this 26 at that time is like,
was old.
40 now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I said, "I want to be an actress."
Now, was that the first time you had
First time I said it out loud.
Did you have like an out of body, like I'm saying
No. No, I said it sort of cringing.
Yeah. Like, oh my
But
God, I'm
she-
ashamed. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to be an actress. She said, so why don't you do it? I said, Mary, I'm 26 years old. I'm a little old starting that business. She said, well, Sharon, I was under contract to MGM when I was your age.
Wow.
I said, you were? She said, yes, I was. I wasn't very good, and I only lasted a year. She said, why don't you do it? And I said, well, Grandpa, being in the industry like he was, said it was a filthy business and to stay out of it, and he never wanted a conversation about me entering that field. So that dream I had when I was younger was just put away. And I said, so please don't say anything to Grandpa and Mary. She said, I won't. Next morning I got up and good morning. She said, your grandfather would like to speak. Oh man.
Are you getting another stomach ache?
Yeah. So I
Right.
go into his room and he's, holding court in bed. He wasn't ill. He just,
Right.
And he said, that's ridiculous. I said, Grandpa, I asked Mary not to say anything to you. I knew that would be your reaction. He said, I mean, it's ridiculous. You think I try to stop you. He said, so what are you going to do about it? I said, I'm going to go to acting school. He said, good. How are you going to pay for that? I said, well, I'm a secretary. I'll get a job. He said, how much is your acting school? And my cousin was an actress, and she was on Ironside. And I knew that the classes were $350 for 3
Right.
months. And he said, okay, you've got $150. Now what? Well, Judy, $150 then to me was $1 million.
Right.
I had nothing. And he said, so then now what are you going to do? What are you going to do while you wait for this to happen? I said, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to audition for my acting class and I'm going to get a job. He said, fine, you want to go home? And Judy, I had said I was coming to visit for 2 weeks.
Right.
I'd only been there a night. But my grandfather raced thoroughbreds. He was a thoroughbred breeder and racer, and he knew when a filly was ready to run.
Right.
There was something to happen in that bedroom. And he said, I said, Grandpa, no, of course I'm staying for 2 weeks to visit with you and Mary. He said, do you want to go home? I'm asking you for the second time. You've got $150. Do you want to go home and start this dream? And I took all the nerve I had, and I said, yes. He said, good, have Mary get you a ticket. And that night, I say this in my book, I'm flying out of the desert, now about to land in Los Angeles, which was my home.
Right.
And I knew I didn't have a great face or great body or anything, but I knew I wouldn't fail. I knew I was going to make it. I was looking out over the city.
Yeah, that's I love that. Where you look out the windows of the...
Look out the window and there I
see
am
it.
over Los Angeles, and this is where magic happens.
Yes, you see it differently for the first time in your life.
I did. And I knew I wouldn't fail. Just something, I had an epiphany.
Oh.
Something came into my heart.
And you were free.
I was free. I had my $150. I had approval. And now I just had to go make my fortune. And a year later, I was under contract to the biggest studio in the world.
You know, you got a job that you had Thursdays off.
I got Thursday. Well,
Thursday afternoon. When
you admit to a dream, saying you want it, I think in your whole heart, in your soul, and everybody, I think all those unseen beings that are all come in. I got home, my phone's ringing, and it's a man saying, Sharon, this is Arthur Marks. He was a producer I'd worked for. And he said, I'm starting a new company. And he said, you're the best production assistant I've ever seen. I want you to come and work for me. I said, I can't, Mr. Marks. He said, why not? I said, you'll laugh if I tell you. He said, go ahead. I said, I'm going to be an actress. He said, I'm not laughing. So what are you going to do till that happens? I said, well, I have to get a job because my acting class is on Thursday, so I have to get a night job. He said, you've got Thursdays off, and I'm paying you for it also. And in 1 year.
It's amazing. It took 1 year.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Monique James, who you speak about, I mean, she really was. She was your biggest.
She was
supporter,
everything. She
fan.
was everything. We never do this alone. Nobody does this alone.
Right.
And she signed me to Universal. I auditioned for it. I'd done a play.
And she was scary. But she, when you first describe her and she says, come do this, monologue, and then you change the words, the wording.
I did. I rewrote it. I think nobody's ever seen it. It was only done in London.
Right. So you changed the words.
I changed the words.
Such a Sharon thing to do. They had just seen it a month ago.
Well, she hadn't, but her partner,
the partner,
had been in London seeing it with Billy Whitelaw.
Right.
And when I finished, Eleanor Kilgallen, her partner, got up and said, "I saw it in London last month. Thank you." I went, "Oh,
and you're
God,
like, fuck."
Good. Yeah. Just totally changed everything. And that day, I went back to my office where I was the secretary. And my boss said, "Monique James just called. She wants you to come back tonight." I went back and she said, "We'd like to offer you a 7-year contract."
I mean, it's crazy.
I know.
First of all,
that's how it started.
And you got on Marcus Welby, MD. I mean, like all these shows that I watched as a kid, the stories are everyone has to get this book. You start on Marcus Welby, MD.
Well, Marcus Welby had a deal with Monique James.
Right.
Any new contract player
had to do
new ones like me. I didn't even have a Screen Actors Guild card.
Right.
You have to have a card and all that. Marcus Welby gave me a job so I could get my Screen Actors Guild card.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's funny that you talk about the Wayne Rogers story. To me, was so depressing because I loved him on MASH. And there's a story about him in the book. And it's like, it's so sad when these people in this horrible business, which granted, people are treated like shit in show business, but you can tell that you are so thankful. You're nice to everyone, like what a fucking asshole. Like your ego, you can't have an ego like that. I don't know.
I think Wayne, God rest his soul. I was thrust on him.
Right.
He had Lynn Redgrave fired.
Yeah, right.
She wanted to make what he made and wanted to nurse her baby on the set.
Right. So so he had a TV series and she was playing his other half.
She was the co-star. She was billed over the title.
Right. And he was pissed.
And they'd been in it 3 years together and she wanted to and he had her fired.
Yeah, he had her fired because she wanted to breastfeed her kid, and bring her kid to the set.
On the set.
And then, you take her part and, you talk about a series of, this one got fired. Let's call Sharon Gless. This one,
the troubleshooter.
Yeah, and this had happened so many times, but this particular one, the story about Lynn Redgrave, who you took her part and then the show was canceled. Because of Wayne, essentially, and his demands, and
the numbers just weren't as good.
They weren't
it
good.
Could have been my fault, but anyway, they canceled it after a year.
And you decide, all right, I'm going to have a party for everyone. They're so lovely.
I did.
And you don't invite Wayne.
No,
but you do invite the person.
I thought it'd be a classy thing if I invited Lynn Redgrave. They adored her. They missed her. And so I called her and invited her. I said, "I'm just having a little party, my little house on the freeway, and the cast is coming, and wondered if you would come and join us. Everybody misses you, and she's classier than I am." She accepted. She said, "You want to do something fun?" I said, "Sure." Lynn Redgrave. She said, "You want to stage a fight?" I said,
"Funny."
Sure, Lynn Redgrave. So when her car pulled up, I could see through the window she had arrived. And I told everybody at the party. It was properly stoned by then. Somebody's here. Let me go check it out. And she said, I went out and met her. And she said, Lynn Redgrave, hi. And she said, hi, Lynn Redgrave. She said, hi, Sharon Gless. And she said, you ready? I said, sure. And we started this fight. She said, you had a party and invited everybody and not me? I said, why would I invite you? She said, that was my part. I said, your part? I said, you can't act for shit. I said that to her, Red.
Oh my God. And it goes on and on.
It goes on and on and on.
And you're like, and
fuck
it's
you, fuck me.
Yeah.
And
everyone in the party's silent.
Oh, they're stunned. And I slammed the door. And I turned to the guests and I said, what a loser.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then you started laughing. I mean, I love that.
Well, they were stunned. So I went and said, get in here.
By the time Cagney and Lacey had its own stuff going on. There was another actor or actress who was Cagney, and it was going to be, okay, we want her. It was another fill-in or someone's getting fired, and you were like, no. And you really resisted,
I didn't want to play it. I was offered Cagney and Lacey
before.
First, but I had just done a pilot where I played a cop and it didn't sell. And I said, I don't want to be back on a rod.
Right. So
I said, no. And then it was offered to me. And so they got, the girl from MASH.
Yeah. Loretta Swett.
Loretta Swett. So Loretta came in and played it for the movie and then it sold. So Loretta had to go back to MASH. So Barney came again to ask me if I'd play it. And I was replacing Lynn Redgrave, so I wasn't available.
Right.
So then, Cagney's got canceled again, and he approached me a third time, and finally I wised up. They wanted to replace, I hate to tell the story because Meg Foster's such a wonderful actress, but they were too similar.
Yeah, they said that you said that in the book that her and Tyne's character, they were too similar, but you also tell a story about Michael Douglas. You're doing this nude scene with Michael Douglas and your boobs are sticking to him, which is fucking hilarious. And you ask him, you're like, I'm not going to do Cagney and Lacey because I want to be a movie star.
I did. I said, I always want to be in pictures. And now here I am in your feature. And I'm supposed to start this show called Cagney and Lacey in a week. What do you think I should do? And he said, have you ever heard of the streets of San Francisco? I said, sure. He said, enough said.
And that was it. You and your big boobs
changed my life. Yeah.
Your love for Tyne and respect for Tyne Daly is so apparent in the book. You talk a lot about developing that character of and how, I mean, it's really important, I think, that younger women read this book, and also the fact that you felt such a responsibility that here are two completely different women who are starring in a show. They're both, I get, they're independent. You're more, you're more of the free spirit of
my life was free.
Right.
She was married with babies.
Right. And the way you develop and the fact that it's the way you talk about it wasn't a burden, but you felt a responsibility to make sure that she was portrayed as, it was a positive portrayal. And the fact that Barney was he didn't make you wear, I mean, I love that. It would really, I don't think I remember that show and I would not miss that show. I was, in my 20s and early 20s, and it was a big part of my life. And I can't tell you, it was I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar. It meant so much to me, that show.
We didn't realize, I don't think we realized the impact we were having.
Oh, it was huge. I mean, it also made me think, wow, and that's what you wanted. There could be a show starring two women that's hugely successful, even though they wanted to cancel it. And brilliant Barney decides, you're getting all this fan mail. let's send it to the newspapers, and they.
He did. He told the people who'd written him. He said, "Thank you." He wrote a form letter. He called Tyne. He called me saying, "Did you guys get any mail?" Yeah. He said, "I'm sending a driver over. May I have it?" And we said, "Sure." And he wrote it had to be a form letter because of so many people.
Right.
But he wrote each one of them. He had it mailed to each one of them saying, write your affiliate station and write your local newspaper because you do have a voice.
Right.
By God, everybody did it. And all the mail started pouring into CBS. And CBS said we've made a mistake.
Yeah, there was a lot of complaint. I mean, and the way you talk about the character and there's just so many details about you drank out of a styrofoam. You drank your coffee out of a styrofoam cup, and Mary Beth
Tyne chose to.
Yeah,
Mary Beth
she had a mug because she's married with kids, and just all the decision, every detail. I have to say thank you to you because.
Oh my God! Thank you.
It was whatever you put in, it showed, and I think it had a profound impact on people,
I had to start watching Tyne more carefully because I could see the similarities between Megan and Tyne.
Right. And you didn't want that.
No, so I deliberately just made physical choices just to start some sort of whenever Tyne would fold her arms, I'd put my hands in my pocket.
Right.
It was an attitude anyway that I enjoyed. And we just started with stuff like that. I think I say it in my book, but then Tyne Daly, I'll tell you how generous she was. I knew I was getting the feel of Cagney. And I knew Cagney was reckless. She was a great cop, but she was reckless. And I went to Tyne and I said, Tyne, I need to ask you a favor. She said, what is it? I said, may I enter first when we're running? May I enter the door first? Not every time, but most of the time. She said, well, for obvious reasons, I don't like that. I said, I don't blame you. But I think that's who this woman is. And I think you're a more cautious cop. You have children. And Cagney's just balls out,
Right. You got nothing to lose.
No. And Tyne said, you ask that of me, I'll say yes. It was huge.
Huge. That's so generous.
Oh, yeah. Took balls to ask it, I'll tell you.
Right, I know.
But it was very, very generous of her. And she said, for obvious reasons, I don't like it. But we got to make this show work.
And you sure did. And she won 3 times. And then you finally won.
And God bless her.
Yeah. Your acceptance speech at the Emmys, because she had won 3 times and you
3 in a row.
Yeah. You finally won. And you kind of had a feeling you were going to win.
I remember exactly what I said. You want me to repeat it?
Yes.
All right. I remember. I just remember, first of all, she'd won 3 times in a row. And I got the Emmy. And I remember I went to the mic and I said, I would like to thank my partner, Tyne Daly, who I am sure is the most relieved woman sitting in this room tonight. And Tyne told me she was going to say, if she wanted a 4th time, she was going to say, I want to apologize to everyone I've ever met.
Brilliant. You all,
and then I won it again the next year. And she and I both thought I'd win the 3rd.
Yeah.
Tyne won the first 3, then I won the next 2. We thought then the next year I'd win, so we each tie.
Right.
And I didn't. It went back to Tyne.
Right.
But, the nice thing is that the 6 years we were on the air, no other woman ever won the Emmy.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's Tyne or me. And I'm not saying it's because we're so brilliant. We were given the material. Nobody was writing for women.
Right.
There was one actress who I ran into at a Golden Globe thing after Cagney had been canceled. And I was there that evening, and she came up to me. She said, I'm so glad you guys are canceled because now we have Christmas having.
That's hilarious. This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself, you can process, and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it, and you sit there and you wait, and then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome. You talk about that you rehearsed together, you worked on your relationship. You rehearsed with Tyne after, like at 4 in the morning when you were done with, because
every night.
Yeah.
We shot sometimes 18 hours a day.
Yes. And you'd go into your trailer.
That, when everybody was gone, then she and I would meet and rehearse the next one.
You also talk about the love story of you and Barney it's so beautiful. It is.
Well, it depends on where you're sitting.
I know. But you can't help who you fall in love with.
No.
But you've had it
was rough.
I'm sure it was sad and rough and horrible. But
it's been, we're married 30 years now.
Right. So it was beshared, meant to be. And you went on to do Queer as Folk, where you played the mother that every LGBTQ person wished they had, an accepting, loving mother.
Well, she was a little outrageous. But I'm always surprised when people say, "Oh God, I wish my mom were like you." Really?
Well, just because they wanted the love, they wanted to be accepted. I met you.
Hard I used. You know who I used to play that role?
Who?
My mother.
No. Oh wow.
I used my mother. Now my mother, I swear to God, I used my mother's heart. The character.
Right.
Is totally unlike my mother.
Right.
But I used my mother's heart because I remember what it was like being loved by her, and I used that to love my boy.
I know this is a really ridiculous question, but do you think your mother would have accepted you if you were a lesbo?
I think it would have been hard on her.
But she never would have been that type that's like, don't ever talk to me.
No, she never would have disowned me or no.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, not that I know your mother, but or knew your mother. I met you on the Rosie Cruise for I think the first time, and of course starstruck. And you're this. First of all, you're an icon on so many levels because your body of work is unbelievable, but you've also sort of a gay icon, and you're not gay. It's just.
I know. When I used to give interviews on Cagney and Lacey, the press said, "Of course you're gay." I said, "No, I'm festive." But I said, "No, I'm not." And nobody believed me. I didn't care. That was my audience. Okay.
Right.
God bless them.
But so many other people would have been defensive. And
Oh, no.
but you were always there when it wasn't cool to be there. Like you were never, and it's as a lessee, you know, just having people like you, before it was cool, you know, and hip to be a friend of the LGBT community, it meant a lot. And
well, thank you. The lesbian audience was one of the main reasons for the success of Cagney and Lacey.
right,
They loved Chris Cagney. The
Right.
men used to write time. And
right,
the women would write me.
yeah.
And
Well,
then-
you got that right, baby.
and then I was lucky enough to get Queer as Folk, which I went after.
The love in this book, the love stories in this book are so, I mean, they're great. I might even have to kiss Elisa after this interview because there's so much love in here and passion. And also, you know, dealing with your alcoholism and the fact that you grew up. I mean, we didn't talk earlier about that your grandmother drank. Like everyone drank. There was a lot of drinking.
Yeah, but they weren't problem drinkers. My mom, I think, had
Right.
a problem.
Well, being a Jew.
She was my mother, just sipped all day long.
Right. And as Jew, we just eat. That's all we do. We can't, you know, we can't function on the alcohol. So we just fucking think about food 24 hours a day. But, you know, but it's, I mean, there's, you know, Hector and there's just so many beautiful stories in this book. And the story of, you know, your doctor
Thank you.
saying, you know, you better quit drinking, you know.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. I opened the book with it.
Yep, that's the first thing you talk about.
If
If you ever have another drink again, don't call me. I don't do
If you ever have another
suicides.
drink, right? Jeez.
That, you know,
Okay.
you've had some divine intervention.
Yeah, I thought it was a little harsh.
But,
So I quit. I mean, it's the second time I quit.
right. I mean, there's one photo in there and you say you're holding a bottle and you're like, oh, I recognize that face because that was my, before I know we have to go, but I have to say, I always ask my podcast guests 2 questions. So I'm going to ask you my 2 questions, but I also want
You're
to
the best
say,
interviewer. May I say that before you?
no,
You're the best, just the best. Thank
I
you.
love you. I
Love you too.
just love you. And I love
your homework.
everything you've accomplished. And, you know, that whole, you know, you talking about your husky voice and your body. And, you know, I'm 6'2" and I'm, you know, the inside doesn't match the outside a lot of the time. And I've been a huge fan of yours I love you so much. So thank
And I
you.
of yours. I interrupted you. You wanted to ask me something, and I interrupted.
Well, no, I will. And I'm telling you, I'm writing a original series, and you're going to be on it.
Yay!
I've been writing and writing, and I'm done. And you know, you just the way you say, if you just put it out, if you just accept it and put it out and admit it, it'll happen. You know, like, and you're right. You got to fucking tone those stupid voices down in your head. Okay, these are my 2 questions. We're very pro mental health on my podcast. So what do you, we always ask what you do for your
I'll
mental
try
health.
and fit in.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm on
I do.
antidepressants.
I take my antidepressant.
Yes. What do you
I
want?
take my antidepressant every morning. I can't remember. I have to go look it up.
Oh, all right. It's fine.
Do you want me to go get it?
No, you don't have to get it. I'm on Paxil and I take trazodone.
No, it's not Paxil. Is
It begins with an
metformin?
M. Oh, no.
Metformin, would it be? Or is that for
Metformin
diabetes?
is for diabetes.
Oh, then it starts with D.
Starts with a D. Whatever. We're just happy you're on antidepressants.
I'm on that one too.
You're on that one too?
If it's desvenlafaxine. Don't tell her.
Desvenlafaxine
Don't
or
tell
something?
her.
No, it's not that difficult a word.
Oh, no. Elisa only speaks in the scientific name of the drug. It is the most fucking annoying thing in the entire world. I'm not kidding. She has to say the entire whatever chemical makeup it is of the fucking drug. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Aspirin. I'm like, you're an asshole. Okay. All right. So you do antidepressants.
That's every morning.
Me every night for me. And then I call the podcast Kill Me Now because, as you know, you've seen my act. I get aggravated over every fucking thing. So I wondered what pisses you off more than anything in the entire, like, makes you so fucking angry.
Ageism.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy, right?
Unkindness. I don't understand it. So unnecessary. There's always something else you can say besides hurting somebody.
And it's harder to be nasty. It takes more effort to be an asshole than it does to be nice to someone.
I don't like accent so much on weight. I hate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just do. I'm in an age now where I say fuck them. But it was it's so much pressure on women.
Right.
Besides unkindness, making fun of people who are ageism.
Ageism is it's really, I'm so glad you said that because, like, as a comedian, you get funnier as you get older because you don't care anymore and you have so much life experience and there's nothing you can say to me that I haven't heard. And yet you're old, Sharon. I want everyone to buy your book. I want every woman in show business to read this book. And you are such a good storyteller. And Elisa said,
that's how I got that book.
Yeah, you're such a great storyteller. And Elisa said, how does she remember everything? That's what she said to me. How does she remember everything?
I think you can't forget that shit.
I know.
You just can't forget it.
You don't.
It's not like I went someplace to research it. It's all in my soul.
Right. Exactly. It's in her soul, Elisa.
Yeah. Her voice is great on the audio.
Yeah, okay. Lisa.
Yeah, you fucking. I really want to get together. I know that you can't have any martinis anymore, but I know you miss your martinis.
I'd love to buy you a martini though, honey.
Yeah, but you do the gin. I like vodka. I can't. I'm not, I'm a Jew. I can't with the.
You're a sissy.
I know, but I'm big.
A real martini
is gin. My mother liked the gin. Yeah.
Right.
But I
love the way it made me feel. But the most painful thing I had to do in rehab, they made us do, is write a letter saying goodbye to our best friend, which was the bottle.
Do you have your letter?
No, I had to turn it in. Hazleton has the letter, or I don't know what they did.
Did they read it?
One of our assignments. Of course. Oh, yeah.
That would be something good to put in like a bottle that that people could find in 200 years.
It was like a friend. What else made me feel better than that?
Right. But now you have real friends.
That's right.
Yeah. And they don't
real friends.
And who talk back. I love you so much. And I can't thank you enough. I hope this book sells 1 billion copies. You deserve you're amazing.
Thank you. So are you.
Thank you so much for listening to part 2 of Kill Me Now with the one, the only, the incredible, the talented, I can't even go on, Sharon Gless. Such an exciting interview for me. Kill Me Now is produced by Laura Vogel, edited by Colin Schmaling. This podcast, my life, my love, my work could not be possible without the help of Brittany Jo Sowards. I don't even know what that meant, but I meant it. If you haven't subscribed, go fuck yourself. If you haven't given me 5 stars, fuck yourself harder with something, with your computer. If you haven't purchased my book, yes, I can say that. When They Come for the Comedians, We're All in Trouble. Really? Come on. Also, please, check out my website, judygold.com. It's a really original name, JUDYGOLD.com, unlike my Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, which are at Judy Gold, JEWDYGOLD. I will be at City Winery in Manhattan, in New York City, this Thursday, March 10th. I will be in New Hope, Pennsylvania, March 12th and 13th, but the 12th is sold out, so, go to the 13th show, because it's going to be really fun. I'm going to be in Fort Lauderdale on March 26th, so check out my website, check out my Insta and my TikTok and my Twitter. And if you're still listening, I fucking love you. And if you're the one person who listens, I fucking love you. Let me know who you are. Please write to me and tell me you're the one who listens. I also want to say I am thinking about all the people in the Ukraine, all the innocent people. Putin is a fucking piece of shit. And, I just wish this wasn't going on in this world. I just wish people were better. I really do. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of the planet that we all share. It's not fair. I feel bad for my kids and my grandkids that I haven't seen yet. And I don't want to see for a while. Don't get any ideas, kids. But, stay safe. Get boosted if you're not boosted. Wear your fucking mask when you're in the subway and public places. That's it. I can't thank you enough for listening. I feel like PBS, this is a listener-supported podcast. The more listeners, the more likely I am to stay on the air, even though we're not on the air, we're in the air. We are just a part of the fucking podcast world, but I thank you for your love and support. And as we always say, so long!